We track the biggest political stories in Nigeria at midday, and that's why I'm here. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma, and today we're going to be looking at what's playing out in Osun State just a few weeks ahead of the election. The violence seemed not to be abating, but first, let's bring you our headlines. Police arrest suspected hoodlums over violent clash among members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers. There's weeks to the governorship election. We highlight the issues on the program today. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Taiwo Yedele, defends the economic reforms of the current administration, says it's strengthening the economy. If there's a minister that is busy right now and has a lot of questions to answer, both from the public and from the National Assembly, that will be Taiwo Yedele. Well, he says the president's economic reforms, alongside that of the 4.6 trillion naira banking sector recapitalization, are strengthening Nigeria's financial safety net and building depositors' confidence. The minister was speaking at the opening of the International Association of Deposit Insurance Africa Regional Committee annual meeting in Abuja.
Agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, we have pursued a comprehensive program of fiscal and financial transformation, unifying the foreign exchange markets, removing a distortionary fuel subsidy, and ending the central bank unsustainable ways and means financing of government deficits. In March 2026, the central bank concluded its 2-year banking sector recapitalization exercise. 33 of the 37 banks met the revised minimum capital requirements, ranging from 500 billion naira for internationally authorized banks to 50 billion for regional banks, raising a combined 4.65 trillion naira, or about $3.5 billion in fresh capital.
Now, from the issues around banking and finance to the issue of law, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, on anti-corruption institutions across West Africa, seeks to break what he describes as a silence of financial crime, saying the region's rapidly evolving criminal landscape demands stronger collaboration, innovation, and decisive enforcement to tackle transnational corruption. According to him, corruption cannot be discussed as criminal justice matter alone, adding that West African nations must strive to build societies where corruption becomes harder to perpetrate and accountability stronger than impunity. He made a call at the maiden edition of the Leadership Conference of the Network of National Anti-Corruption Institutions in West Africa, where we also had the chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Olukoyede, made remarks about the evolution of crime and what the commission is doing to curb it.
The corruption environment has changed significantly. Criminal networks increasingly operate across borders. Illicit financial flows move through multiple jurisdictions within seconds. Digital platforms and emerging technologies create new opportunities for development, but they also produce new forms of fraud, concealment, manipulation, and financial crimes. Artificial intelligence is transforming the way information is generated, analyzed, and deployed.
Public office is not a license for personal enrichment. It is a sacred trust. Those entrusted with public resources must always be prepared to account for how those resources are managed. Only a few days ago, gentlemen, the Supreme Court of Nigeria reaffirmed the effectiveness of our civil asset forfeiture regime. That judgment stands as a powerful affirmation that the rule of law remains the bedrock of our anti-corruption architecture and that our institutions are capable of delivering justice without fear or favor.
I did tell at the very beginning of the program, we're going to be talking a lot about what's playing out in Osun State, where the operatives of the Anti-Robbery and Violent Crime Response Unit of the Osun State Police Command have now arrested a group of hoodlums allegedly shooting sporadically at the Okejetu area of Osogbo. The command explains that the distress call was received and the team was drafted to the area, but getting to the scene, the hoodlums started shooting at the police operative, leading to 3 officers sustaining various degrees of injury. Gunshot injuries are presently, well, they were responding to those gunshot injuries when this incident happened. So you can see some of them being paraded. Exhibits recovered from them are 6 expended cartridges, 4 vehicles, 4 motorcycles, military camouflage, and criminal charms. Let's get in our guest. Abiodun Ojelabi is the Public Relations Officer of the police in the state. He joins us from Osogbo. Mr. Ojelabi, welcome to the program. Oh dear. Also joining us, Mr. Ayodiji Ologun.
Good afternoon, rather. Though the network is breaking, your voice is cracking.
Okay, we hope to resolve that. We also have with us Ayodiji Ologun, is a human rights activist, joining us as well from the Osun State capital in Osogbo. Mr. Ologun, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. He's also the spokesperson of the Osun Mastermind. PPRO, let's start with you so that we establish the facts. Because when these things happen, we hear all kinds of stories. So what we would like to hear from you, because I remember I did interview the executive director of Kimpact Initiative, Mr. Edo. He said, I think within the time of this administration, back and forth, I mean, in Osun State, for instance, they've had violent incidents close to maybe 40. That's not a very good number. And it keeps escalating. The IGP was even, he made that visit.
The network is... Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, Mr. Jalabi, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? All right, we'll try to resolve your network, Mr. Jalabi. So let me go to Mr. Ologun. Mr. Ologun, let me, I wanted the police to give us the facts available. What really happened, who are those responsible, because they have certain persons in custody, because we're hearing, because when this violence happened, the APC is blaming the Accord party, Accord is blaming the APC, there's division across, but all this is just criminality. So we wanted these police to establish their own position. But what do you know, Mr. Ologun, as far as these issues are concerned? Let me start from you, since the PRO is not available due to network.
Very much. The unfortunate aspect of all this crisis is that we saw this coming, and civil society members, we warned, but then what is playing out is the hypocrisy of the political class. Just like you said, the APC blaming the Accord party blaming the APC, or everyone trying to isolate themselves and make it look like it's the other party that is causing chaos and mayhem in the state. Maybe for the benefit of that, let's establish what actually happened on the day of this NURTW crisis. You will recall that a few days before that NURTW crisis, there were killings. Particularly, the notable of it was the killing of one of the student leaders, Latif, who was a NAS comrade. He was killed, a toddler was killed, and a man of about 70-year-old was killed. 3 of them in one day. And behind all these killings, one name keeps ringing, one name keeps coming up, and that is the name of Alowonle, who is supposedly the chairman of NURTW, or the factional chairman of the NURTW in Osun State. And when all of this happened, what you saw, contrary to whatever claim has been made, is a supposed protest by a faction, because virtually everything in Osun State is factionalized. So the NURTW is factionalized. So what you saw was a supposed protest by a faction of the NURTW to protest the involvement of Alowonle in the crisis that was brewing in the state, and to also call for prosecution and caution. And that, of course, expectedly translated into chaos, whereby thugs, or you say hoodlums, loyal to Alowonle, also carried out a retaliation on the supposed protesters who were calling for the arrest and the prosecution of Alowonle. But one thing keeps ringing bell. For how long will the political class continue to make do or to make use of non-state actors to protect whatever political interest they have? On the defiance of the APC, what names that keep ringing bell is the name of Ashiri Eniba, who is supposedly the chairman of the NURTW in Abuja. And if you saw the video of the protest, the supposed protest, Ashiri Eniba led that protest. So the question would be, what is the chairman of NURTW supposedly in Abuja? What is he doing in Osun State leading a protest against a factional chairman of NURTW in Osun State? And why should the name of the chairman of NURTW, the factional chairman of NURTW in Osun State, be mentioned in the killing of innocent souls, a nurse comrade, a toddler, and even a 70-year-old man? So all of this was what translated into the crisis that was saying on the day that crisis breached. And then it led into chaos whereby a lot of people, another 3 people were killed, and 3 officers secured gunshot injury because when they were trying to bring about orderly in a car, the hoodlums engaged them, wounding 3 officers in the protest. And when some of these hoodlums were eventually arrested, what you saw is that some of these hoodlums, when they made conversions to the fact that they were loyal to Alowonle, which in a way confirms the fact that Alowonle might have had a hand in the killings that happened previously, a couple of days before them. But in all of this, it established one fact, that the political class needs to continue to do rightly. We cannot continue to engage non-state actors in current political point. It's not acceptable.
All right, Mr. Ologun, sir.
Endangering the life of the people.
So let
elected to protect.
Yeah, my apologies, Mr. Ologun. Is that Alowonle is? So I want to get the names right. Alowonle is the chairman of NURTW in Osun State. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, factional chairman of NURTW in Osun State.
Then the one from Abuja is which one?
It's Ashiri Eniba.
Ashiri Eniba. Okay, let me see what I can get the public relations officer of the police in this. Okay, let me see what I can get the. Oh dear, I understand. We'll try and establish connection with him. Because it's important we get the police position. They've made arrests. We don't know who they arrested and for what they arrested, or at least in connection with the violence that was recorded in this area. So it's almost common knowledge that, sadly, NURTW across the country, it becomes like a militia wing for every ruling political class in the state. It's literally what everybody sees happen most of the time. So the politicians don't play with them. That is what is seen to be the reality, whether it's true or false. But talk to us about the IGP had visited, and he was he wasn't mincing words. He said to the governor, I hear that certain persons are in this government house that are evading justice. And he also spoke to the APC as well, that there are people with you that are evading justice as far as this issue of killings are concerned. Do you think that the police is doing enough to contain what may be very deadly in the long run despite the visit of the IGP?
Well, the visit of the IGP exposed the hypocrisy behind the government of the day. And just like you said, he spoke truth to the 2 of them, the APC and the PDP. I know for a fact, and the IGP spoke about it at his visit, that there are members or there are individuals that have been declared wanted by the police, who are on the watch list of the police, who are appointees of the present government. Not only are they appointees of the present government, they are said to be shielded in the government house of the Osun State government. In fact, information has it that the house where they are housed is being guided by police and civil defense officers within the government house. So if you say you are a chief security officer of the state, you want peace, you want progress, you want people to live at peace, and you have individuals who are appointees of your government, declared wanted by the police, one would have thought the exact thing to need to be done is to have handed those individuals over to the law enforcement agents, not when they are being sent in courts now to be protected by the agencies of government, particularly in the government house. So, like you said, what we have witnessed is the NURTW, and particularly non-state actors who are in this case court members, are now being seen as the militia wings of different political parties. We cannot continue a society like this, where people live in fear. Don't forget that now that the NURTW is polarized in the state, some are loyal to the state government, some are said to be loyal to the APC. That means that each time these factions clashes, the people bear the grunt. No innocent individuals who want to travel from one place to another, who have come to the garages to board vehicles, get engulfed or they get catched up in the crisis between 2 factions. Some of them losing their lives, some of them losing property, some of them losing things that are of value to them. And yet, we have a government in place. I'm not saying the police is not doing anything, but the fact remains that the police is not doing enough. The commissioner of police in Osun State has oftentimes been.
Yeah, my apologies, because I understand the PPRO is here. So since you've already mentioned the police, let's just segue and pick it from where you stop. Mr. Jalabi, thank you for coming back with us. I want to be sure you can hear me clearly. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah, it's better now.
So the question I did ask Mr. Logan was whether the police is, how is the police performing? He said, well, the police is doing what they can do, but they are not doing enough. As a matter of fact, the IGP was very straightforward with the governor, and especially with the governor and the commissioner of police. He warned the commissioner of police on camera, said he doesn't want to hear any more complaints from them. So in helping us to understand what has played out, what is it that is so difficult in Osun State that is difficult for the police to be able to contain this violence that keeps happening time and again?
Well, there is nothing so difficult about containing what is happening in the state. It's unfortunate that political thuggery has become the order of the day in Osun State. That's a major problem. And it might sound up to you that we got information that some political parties have even hired some particular set of cultists, cult group, to be their allies, to launch attack against the order. You see, this is unbecoming of politics, and we are doing all our possible best to curtail this whole thing. As of yesterday, we still paraded some suspects arrested involved and causing mayhem in the state. Present as I'm to you, we have about 6 of them in custody. They were arrested yesterday again. We are doing our best to see that we curtail this thing, and we need the cooperation of the people. We need the cooperation of the politicians also to see that we have a peaceful gubernatorial state.
PPRO, so the people you arrested, are they members of NURTW? Are they hoodlums? Who are they?
They are, you see, hoodlums, political thuggery is interwoven with the NURTW members. The ones we arrested, the 13 I told you we arrested yesterday, they are members of NURTW, but the investigation has revealed that they confessed that they were carrying arms and ammunition to launch another attack. This is not what I formulated. They confessed. So we cannot tell me that you are just a member of NURTW. Then where come? How come about arms and ammunition in your conversations and dealings? There are evidences to prove what I just said. They confess with their mouth that they are procuring arms and ammunition to lay another ambush for who God knows.
So I'm going to go to Mr. Ologun in just a moment. He has said that the factional NURTW chairman in the state is loyal, I don't know whether I think to the governor or to the government of the day, while the one in Abuja that came to lead a protest is perhaps loyal to the APC. What do you know about that? And which group is, because now we need to be very straight, because I think that, because we don't want to be brutally honest and everybody is trying to be politically correct and diplomatic, and then this thing is simmering even deeper. Which group is this? Is this a group loyal to the government or the group loyal to the ruling party APC at the center? Which of them?
Well, it is not the concern of the police who they are loyal to. Whosoever they want to be loyal to. We are not bring it to anarchy. Lawlessness is what we are after. That is our goal. The loyalty is none of our business. The LTW rules and laws them. We are We've given that to our legal team to study and advise us appropriately on what next to do. But as I talk to you now, in the park or in the parks in Osun State.
So have the parks all been closed down, and which one is still open? Have they all been closed down, the ones that are affected?
The parks are not closed down. Vehicles are allowed to carry people along the side. We don't know which faction, but they're allowed to carry people to ease transportation, so people will not be stranded. But to come into the park and operate the normal way they used to do, we have advised them they should go through the appropriate authority to settle their differences. And once that is done, we are not meant to be in the park. We will leave the park for them. But there should not be breakdown of law and order either in the park or any other part of the state.
So, Mr. Ologo, I know that you say police is not of police's business. If these guys have been interrogated, sorry, Mr. Ologo, let me say with Najela before I go to Mr. Ologo. Mr. Ologo, I'll come to you in just a moment. PPRO, you've interrogated these guys. They told you how they've secured weapons. I'm sure they made confessions. Is this something you can, share with us who they are loyal to?
Well, as I said, they were arrested yesterday. Investigation is on. I don't want to say these things that will jeopardize investigation. They were arrested yesterday. They confessed they were bring money to procure arms and ammunition to attack. That is what I can say to that. Investigation is on.
All right, let me take it to Mr. Ologo. Mr. Ologo, so I'm trying to push for some clear information. They've confessed that they were giving money. They have weapons. I think I even saw a camouflage. Someone sent them, but the PPRO is maybe for security reasons is not disclosed. What do you make of it?
Well, I think I understand the PPRO is trying to be professional so that it does not put unnecessary information in the public. But in one of the videos that is circulating, one of the hoodlums that were arrested made clear confessions. He was asked by journalists, who is he working for? And he said it clearly, that it's one of the boys of Alowonle. He talked about when the park was invaded by protesters. He talked about a WhatsApp group where a message was dropped that they should assemble somewhere in Osogbo. And when they got there, they will put Alowonle on phone. And he said that they should not lose guard. That was his word, that they should not lose guard. And until they should wait for the governor's instruction, and that whatever the governor wants is what he will do. That is in the public domain. So I don't think there's anything to be minimal about in talking about the truth by the PR. So if somebody was arrested and they made voluntary conversion to the fact that he was loyal to Alowonle, he said that at the point when somebody was trying to raffle with, he was given a gun to keep. And then the call came in by Alowonle, who is their supreme leader, saying that they should not lose guard, and he's waiting for the governor's instruction. You need nothing. You can connect the dots to know who is loyal to who and who is taking instruction from who. But that is not to say, with all sense of humility and responsibility, that the whole crisis in the state is one-sided. I am not comfortable with the hypocrisy of the ruling class. I'm not saying the government of the day is responsible for all the crimes in the state, but trying to say the APC is responsible for all the crimes in the state, or the Accord is responsible for the crimes in the state, is being economical with the truth. It's across both divides. And we need to ensure that our politics is moved away from involving non-state actors in creating militia wing of political parties to carry out one arm or the other against perceived enemies. We need to have overcome this status, whereby people can identify with whoever they want to be with without fear of being hunted down by members of the militia group of an opposition party. And for me, the government also needs to be straight. It is the duty of the state governor to be the chief security of the state. And in being the chief security of the state, it needs to be fair to all. Police cannot declare some individuals wanted and then you keep them under your abode. For what reason? And if the governor is saying no, they are not under his abode, let then the necessary investigation be carried out, let the necessary search be done, and let the police be on the trail of whoever, irrespective of whatever political party they are loyal to. Let the police be on their trail and get them arrested so that people can go to sleep and know fully whether they have a government who protects them.
Let me bring in a PPRO as we wind down. PPRO, what assurances do we have that, because all the pointers show that this may be a very, very violent election. If pre-election we're recording several incidents and blame game, Is the police really ready for what may be happening on election day? And what measures should we be expecting to bring comfort? Because if the people feel that there will not be, they will not feel safe going out to cast their vote, we're already crying over voter apathy, then we're going to have this incident again.
Thank you very much. You asked if we're ready, I must say we are ready. You see, our major concern is not just the election day or before the election. We are the post-election, after the election, aftermath of all these things that is happening. These guys possess arms, they're in possession of ammunition, they have court group that have bought over. So we are considering not just the election day or the election period, we are considering after the election, because we all know that politicians will use these guys and dump them. Then the arms will be in their hand later on. Then they will begin to unleash terror on the citizens. We are considering that our plans. As for the election, we are using this medium to urge the people of Osun State, they should not entertain fear. This election will be very peaceful with all our plans in place and by the grace of God. It will be very peaceful. But we are considering the post-election. That is one of our major concerns.
All right. I must thank you so much. Mr. Logan, just a last take on this. He's giving his own assurance as a policeman. Well, he has to give the confidence to the people. But do you believe him?
Well, one can only give the police the benefit of doubt. But my concern in all of this is the voter apathy that would be seen on the day of election. If anybody is thinking that people will troop out of the election to vote with all this pre-election violence, is going to be a dream that is too high. I was part of an INEC program a couple of days ago in the show where we considered all of these security threats, the impact of it on voter apathy. And we spoke the truth to ourselves that, look, if you have a son or a daughter who is seeing all of this and is going to be a first-time voter, would you encourage such child to go out on the election day to go and vote? So the fear is all of this crisis, all of this pre-election violence is going to make voter apathy in this coming election to be very, very high. We must not be expecting high figures in the election because a lot of people cannot trust the police, cannot trust assurances of the governor, the police, or whoever is in charge of security architecture to be able to come out of the election to vote. But in all of this, we should tell our people that if you have a son, if you have a daughter who is going about joining one gang or doing something that is unbecoming, this is the time to rate them in. We deserve a society that is peaceful. We deserve an election is not war. And this is the time to choose who leads Osun State in the next 4 years. And that should be done without fear or favor.
Well, I see a very militarized exercise, given what has heralded this. And that time, there will also be that concern. But I must thank you both for coming on the program. Abiodun Jelabi is the Public Relations PPRO of the Osun State Police Command. Thank you for coming on the program. Abiodun Jelabi is a human rights activist joining us as well to give his own perspective as far as this issue is concerned. He's also the spokesperson of the Osun Masterminds. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Well, we hope there will be peace in Osun State because election cannot, will not, and has never and should never be war. And that's it on the program. Thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.